What's up, guys? This is Sean Swank here. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about relationship dynamics. Um, you know, when I look at like the divorce rate and how a lot of people are kind of like cheating on each other and doing a lot of different things like flirting with other people while they're in relationships. I don't look at it from the surface level to say, that person's not right for doing this or that person's not right for doing that. Even though I feel that way, I feel honestly that if you're in a relationship that you should definitely be committed to that person. And if it's not working, then, perhaps you guys should take a break or perhaps you guys should um, just dissolve the relationship overall. But I try to understand why people do what they do and understand why people choose to cheat or why people choose to flirt or do whatever the other person and the partner may not be okay with. And the reason I do that is because, when I advise people on relationships, I try to understand both sides. And I think I wind up coming to this method of dealing with advising people because, I realize that everyone's different. So when you're taking a person from this place and matching them with someone from this place and trying to mold them together as one, it becomes a challenge because you have so many emotions tied to who you are as an individual. You have so many thought processes that you've gone through to become who you are. So now you meet this person who becomes a challenge to who you are, so you guys can mold into one. So it becomes a thing where there's a lot of bending that has to be necessary for two people to mold successfully in a relationship. And because of this, that's why, you have a lot of problems in relationships because, it's challenging for you to develop who you are as a person from the time you were born to today. And now you have to modify a bit of that to fit someone else in the mold. And it's not someone else like, a coworker that you're hanging out with, or it's not someone else like, a new friend or a new colleague that you met. This is someone that's basically going to have a huge place of authority in your life. And that takes a bit of selflessness to allow someone to come in to do that. And in order to offer that selflessness, you have to surrender a lot of yourself and you have to be very vulnerable with that person. And in doing so, you have to know that in your vulnerability that this person that you're allowing yourself to bend for is on your side. So, it's a lot to deal with being in a relationship with someone. It's a lot of things that you have to face, and you have to face them as a couple. And with you facing it as a couple, you have to, deal with the fact, of thinking, are we really a couple, or am I in this with my whole heart and this person is only given a portion of their heart? So when I look at the divorce rate now and I look at how people cheat or flirt with people besides the person that they're with, I understand it. I don't judge people for it. I don't agree with it, but I do understand it. And I think one way to help people not to do those things is if they understood what the root source of those things were, and how the things that you've learned all of the years that you've lived life until the time you're in this relationship with this person, how they play a strong role in the decisions you are making to cheat and the decisions you are making to run from some challenge. I myself have faced many circumstances where I'm in a relationship, and if it gets too tough or if it gets too challenging, I'll just leave. I'll break up with the person in the relationship because it seems to be much easier for me to deal with the fact that, if they're doing something that I don't like or something I don't agree with, I don't need you. I'm out. I can just go meet someone else like the next day. And the root of me thinking that way is, when I was growing up as a kid, I had success with dating. I had success meeting a girl, taking her out, having her being interested in me. So because I had a high success rate at being able to get a girl to be attracted to me or date me, I gained a bit of arrogance. So it was easy for me to say, hey, you're not doing something I want, I'm out. This relationship is over. And, I realized at some point that it was destroying my successful relationships because I was too arrogant. And I was Mr. Sean Swank. I was the dude that could go and meet a girl, get her number, and, close her if I want. And because of that, I gained a huge amount of arrogance. I thought very highly of myself, and if someone did the smallest thing that did not agree with what I wanted in a relationship, I would arrogantly tell them, I never want to see you again. I remember when I was in high school and we were going to these house parties and all that, and I wanted to break up with this girl. I was so confident and so arrogant with I won't say confident because that wasn't confidence. I was so arrogant about myself that I didn't just break up with the girl. I turned breaking up with the girl into an art. I remember this one girl that I broke up with that I loved with all my heart. And at this particular time, I don't remember exactly why I was breaking up with her, but I said, I'm going to break with her. But I'm not just going to say goodbye. I'm going to do something creative. So what I did was I got some poetry with some the imagery on the piece of paper that I wrote. It was erotic imagery with different sexual poses that they were doing on the black and white. The paper was white. The drawings on it was, in black, and it was sexual pictures. And I wrote poetry on that for her. And it was a breakup letter that I wrote for her on this. And I thought it was cool to do that, try to impress my guys. And then I went and bought a rose and I let the rose die. And I gave her a dead rose with the poetry. And when I broke up with her, I gave it to her and I said, this is symbolic of our relationship. It's over. And I thought I was the coolest dude in the world for doing that. And my guys celebrated me because of how I did that. And, from a retrospective standpoint, all of this stuff was idiotic and it was stupid to do. And I regretted actually doing it when I became an adult. But at that particular time, I thought it was the most amazing thing in the world because I did it with such artistry. I remember another time I was, kind of seeing this girl and I broke up with her. And, I spent hours on the phone romanticizing her ears and her mind with words of why she didn't qualify to be with me and trying to make it poetic and smooth. And I was really doing that just for foolishness or just an art. It was the art of the breakup, which, it was foolish because even though it looked cool and my friends thought it was amazing, I was really affecting a person by doing it. And I'm sure she'll never forget what I did. So I'm breaking up with her on the phone, and my family's in the background hearing me, break up with this girl and kind of breaking her heart and everything. And at the time, Spike Lee's movie, I forget the name of the movie, but it was a movie, School Days. And School Days, that movie in School Days came out, and the guy broke up with his girl in School Days in a really cool way, and so that became another thing that egged me on. But when I'm breaking up with this girl, I'm talking to her on the phone, and then the radio's playing in the background, and then a song came on in the background that was about breaking up with people. And it's funny how I believe that the adversary will come in and make things work for you to do like bad stuff to people. So this particular song came on right at that moment while I was breaking up with her, and it's a song called I forget the name of it, but it goes, "Let's just kiss and say goodbye. Many months has passed us by. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. I can't lie." So that song came on right while I was breaking up with this girl. And even like me singing it right now, like brings chills through my body to say, because it was so on sync when I was breaking up with her. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, but it was actually the most foolish thing in the world, because I probably devastated this girl when I did that, because I was trying to be cool to my family and friends. So I'm breaking up with her. This song comes on, and I was like, I've been talking to you on the phone for an hour about why we can't be together and why I shouldn't be with you and all that. But I think this song can explain it a little more better. So I put the phone to the thing, and I can hear this girl sobbing through the phone while I'm breaking up with her. And at the same time, me and my family in the background like, "Ooh, I'm gonna miss you." Like, we're joking around with this girl, and she's devastated. So I realized after all of that had passed and I matured, became an adult, and I was in relationships, I realized that I still held on to the residue of that action, or those actions from when I was a kid, knowing that I can let a girl go and get another one the next day. I can let this girl go. I can just replace her. No problem. This is Sean Swank. You're good. So when I was in a relationship that I actually needed to hold on to, that I needed to grab onto, and I realized that I was in a good relationship, whenever something got tight or something got a little frustrating, I would immediately just break with the person. And it was so bad that, my friends would make fun of me because, each time I'm like, "Yo, son, I broke up with her." "What'd she do?" "Man, I came by her house and she had me waiting downstairs for 15 minutes, so it's over." It would be like simple stuff like that where I would break up with the girl. My guys would be looking at me like, "Dude, you're psychotic, man. Like, you can't do that to people." So, me being like that as a kid helped me to develop a strength or a stronghold into being the person that I became as an adult. So I was damaging my relationships because of my past experiences. And that's why I realized that a lot of people wind up in divorce court, or they wind up cheating, or they wind up doing some foolish thing because they haven't dealt with things that happened prior in their life, to the point where they meet this person and they marry them. They still carry all that baggage with them. And what I need you guys to understand as far as relationship dynamics is, God didn't make us to be a half a person and another half a person, and you guys come together as one. It's not a plus situation, where it's like half plus half equals one. God made us to be one whole plus God involved in the relationship. 1 times 1 is actually 1. It's not a situation where people come and say, "You complete me." No, you actually should be completed yourself. You don't look for another individual to complete you. You find out what's incomplete in yourself, whether it's paying attention, or whether it's listening, whether it's not being selfish, whether it's being considerate of others, whether it's being an alpha or being ballsy like a man and taking charge, where, if the woman is dependent on you for something, you actually achieve that thing. Or where if it's a woman, being supportive of the man if he's doing something that may not appear to be the right thing. Telling that guy and encouraging him, because guys are huge ego monsters, that, "Baby, it's okay. You're doing great. I'm fascinated by you." And guys, kind of need to hear that to like boost our egos and make us feel good about ourselves. And you doing that, or you being that type of person that's a whole person yourself, means that you're equipped for every situation that may occur, and you're not the type of person that's going to allow a seam in the relationship for trouble to arrive. And the same thing for a guy. Like, a guy has to be secure about himself. And part of being secure about himself is knowing that if an issue comes, that he has to step up and to take care of it, and the woman has to be able to depend on him to do his job. And the weird part about it is sometimes you have a relationship where it's a grown woman and she's dating a boy. So she's a whole person and he's a third of a person. So she has to fill in the blanks for him all the time to try to mold him into being a man. And vice versa. If the woman is a third of a woman and the man is a whole man, now he has to help develop her into a whole woman so they can become a power couple. And that's where I find a lot of relationships wind up being in this position, and the two people that are in the relationship don't even know it, because they're assuming that the person that they met is a whole person, and the other person's assuming the same thing, when in reality there are levels to who people are as far as maturity, as far as how they can handle being in a relationship, how they can how they can deal with situations that may occur. And I think the best thing that a couple can do is realize that somebody's not whole somewhere, and they need to become one whole person in order to become a power couple with this other whole person. And if you understand that and you're willing to work to help this person become a whole person, or if the other person is willing to work to help you become a whole person, then the relationship will be wonderful. But a lot of times people are in these relationships and they're assuming that the person is whole and expecting a lot from them that they won't give. And while you're trying to help the person be whole, they don't want to be vulnerable with you to let you know that they're not whole. Then they start to be dishonest about what they're dealing with. Like, so many different levels to relationship dynamics. But what I can tell you guys on this video that will help you with your relationship dynamics, regardless of what they are, because I can't get fully into something that will help you until I actually meet you and find out what your relationship situation is, so I can help you with the dynamics that are necessary to make it successful. But what I can give you for overall for any relationship is, one, that you guys are honest with each other. And that's a hard one, because for you to be honest with someone means that you have abandoned the place in your mind that says they're going to take this information to hurt me with it. So you have to be willing to be honest. And after honesty comes vulnerability. You got to be willing to be vulnerable with this person and say, hey, when you do this, even though I'm a strong man, 6'8", 280 pounds, it hurts me when you do this. And I'm saying this to my girl who's like 5'3", and I'm telling her, like, yo, what you did just hurt me, And it takes a high level of vulnerability for me to be able to say that for someone that I feel like I can take. I feel like I can grab her and like wrestle her and take her, what I'm saying? So another thing that you have to do is be willing to listen to what the other person is saying to you. And sometimes that can be a hard one, because everyone wants to be right. What I mean? Like, everybody wants their answer to be the answer that everyone goes with. But in a relationship or in a community environment, sometimes your answer is going to get shot down, or it's going to be not received as well. So you have to be okay with that, You don't have to be right all the time. It's okay for you to listen and let someone give you a different perspective that'll probably help your answer become right. And it's hard to do that with someone, here my girl is, she's 5'3" and I'm 6'8". Sometimes she puts me in my place. One time we got into an argument, and I was really pissed off, and I was like, you did this and I'm mad and I'm out. So I'm at her place. I grab my keys off the thing where we keep our keys. I walk out of her place. I go press the elevator. She said, you better not get on that elevator. And here I am at 6'8", 280 pounds, and this little bitty woman, 5'3", says to me, you better not get on that elevator. Now, I had to choose at that point if I was going to listen to her or not listen to her. Now, it's not like if I would have gotten on that elevator that the relationship would have been over or that she would have hated me or anything, but it would have damaged our love dynamic, because I know when she said that, she meant that in such a way to say, if you get on that elevator, the pain and the suffering that I'm going to go through as a result of that will be harsh, and it'll mess up our relationship dynamic. Even though she didn't say those exact words, that's what she meant. And she said it with such confidence. She didn't even stay to watch and see if I got on the elevator or not. She said it in the hallway, then she went back in her apartment. And what did I do? The elevator door opened. I looked. I thought. I watched. And the door closed right in front of me. And my pride kicked in, and I didn't go back and knock on the door. I laid out in the hallway for like 30 minutes, just, looking at stuff online, because I had to humble myself to the fact that I had to listen to her. But me doing that, when I came back, when she came out into the hallway and got me, because I stayed out there until she did, we had a successful conversation about what happened, and we were able to talk about everything that happened and anything that we said was hurtful or whatever. And guess what? When it was all said and done, I was wrong. And I had to admit that I was wrong. Another thing that you guys have to do after you listen is be patient with one another, man. Like, society has lost its level of patience. And I'm the leader of that pack, because I know a few things about dating relationships and all that. And my girlfriend, she hasn't had as many dating experiences as me. So like, I know a lot about dating. I know a lot about different things where dating is concerned, but a lot of this stuff that we've had to go through in our relationship is new to her. So I have to be patient to be able to explain to her why things are the way they are. We're definitely from different places. Like, I don't know, when I was like 15 years old, man, I could, give advice about relationships, because where I grew up in the hood, everything was so advanced. Everything was so right in your face. Her environment wasn't like that. It was the normal household, she was raised as a kid, and she was able to be a kid when she was a kid. She was able to play with toys while we were playing with guns, so I had to humble myself to realize that, with some things that I may have to talk to her about regarding relationships, I have to be patient with her. I have to be patient with her growth, with her, one, knowing about it, and then her growth process of development. And the funny thing about it is, the times where I actually chose to be patient, she wound up teaching me something in the process. So, we have to give each other a chance. One thing that really helps clients when I talk to them about this is, if you take a moment and put the person in your place for whatever you are doing, and imagine how it would make you feel, it will stop you from doing a lot of things that you should not do. I'm not the type of guy that's going to be in contact with my ex or some girl that I dated or, did whatever with in life, because I realized that was then and this is now. And I don't want to do anything to damage the relationship that I have currently. That doesn't mean like if I know someone from my past and I see them, I'm going to ignore them. Sure, I'm going to have a conversation with them. We'll laugh and joke, catch up. How's your family doing and all of that. but I'm not going to be sneaking to talk to an ex behind my girl's back. And it's not that I couldn't do that. I could, and my girl wouldn't know anything about it. But I won't do it because I imagine how I would feel if my girl did that to me. And that's kind of like the standard that we live under, her and I. Don't do what you wouldn't do if, don't do whatever you wouldn't do if I was right there with you. Just don't do it in life. And whatever you wouldn't want me to do, then don't do that thing. And it helps your relationship tremendously because it saves you from getting into an arena that you don't want to be in. That's going to get you in trouble. Seeing an ex out and flirting with her. You know, if you wouldn't want your girl to do that, then you don't do it. And if you wouldn't do it in front of your girl, then you shouldn't do it. And vice versa for the girl. Vice versa for the girl. And this is a bit of relationship dynamics, so you guys can think about different things to make your relationship good. This is only for people that want to be in a good relationship. If you're out there just, doing your thing, then this does not apply to you. This applies only to people that are interested in being in a committed, focused relationship, because this stuff will help you tremendously, and it'll take the pieces to the puzzle in your relationship and make the perfect picture. All right? Confidence Community.